Hello, hope you're doing well. I don't even know how to start this video. This is basically an overview of my collaboration with Esterbrook. This is basically part 2 of my 9-year shop anniversary, and I announced it over a month ago, partially due to some production delays and partially because this is definitely the most expensive item that I have ever released in my store, and I wanted everyone to have some time to, ponder whether you want it, and if you do, then maybe budget for it. So yeah, I'm going to try to keep this video to the point and concise. I will save all of my thank yous to the end, so you don't have to hear me ramble. So yeah, anyways, the first part of this collaboration and the main part is the fountain pen itself. I am obsessed with this box. It is a drawer box and it is a beautiful soft touch finish. When Brian, who is my contact at Esterbrook and who I primarily worked with, when he sent me the templates for the box design, I immediately knew that this is what I wanted to do. I already had the theme for my anniversary picked out, which was tabletop treasures, and when he said this would be a drawer box, I literally thought of drawers, so that is what those are. We have an emoji doing their journaling, and it's a little bit hard to capture, but the tabletop treasures text is foiled with brown. There we go. It's a dark brown, so it's kind of hard to see. And then at the bottom, sorry, it has been like months since I designed this, so some things I've forgotten about. But anyways, this is the back of the box. As you can see, I wrote March 5th, 2025 over here because that is the actual shop anniversary, and this was supposed to be released for March 5th. So the date isn't too relevant, but I think it's okay. And this is a little blurb that I wrote, just a fun little story. Okay, and then you open the drawer. There's also little details on the sides and on the bottom, celebrating 9 years of TheCoffeeMonsterzCO. So the pen is going to be looped in here like this. And then this is like a removable pillow thingy. I don't know what that's called. And we have this little detail, little emojis buried under some pieces of paper. So that is the box design, and I literally have this displayed on my bookshelf because I am just obsessed with it. So the pen is going to have 4 different nib options, and I'm gonna do writing samples later in the video, which is why I have all of these. So it's gonna have extra fine, fine, medium, and then a special journaler grind done by Gina. My collaboration is the same as the Esterbrook Estes model, which is the first pen that I tried from Esterbrook, and I loved it so much. The body is like a creamy tan color. I wanted my pen to be on the lighter side. And one of the things that I love about the Estes fountain pen is that there is a little bit of a spring to the cap. It's hard to convey through video. With other fountain pens, you just unscrew and rescrew, and well, okay, it's the same in this case, but you will notice a little bit of a spring when you press it down, and that is basically like a cushion mechanism in the cap, and the purpose of that is to keep the nib wet so that there's like no hard starts, and even if you don't use it for a while, the ink is not gonna dry out on the nib. My number one quote-unquote demand when designing this pen was that the nib had to have an emoji engraving. I have dreamed about doing my own fountain pen for a very long time, and I just knew that if for some reason the opportunity came up for me to design my own pen, the nib had to have an emoji engraving. And I was so happy that Esterbrook was able to do this for me. It is just a simple classic emoji head with little sparkles surrounding it, and then you will notice that this one has an extra engraving underneath, and that is the indicator that this is a journaler nib ground by Gina. If it's the other sizes, extra fine, fine, medium, it will not have the extra initials at the bottom. Another feature is, as you can see on the cap and on the grip section, this is a beautiful swirly material done by Jonathan Brooks of Carolina Pen Company. There's a mix of light creamy colors, some lighter browns, dark browns, some caramel brown, and it reminds me of like when you pour milk into iced coffee and there's that like beautiful swirly thing. Every pen is going to be unique. I really like this one. This one looks really nice. Anyways, yeah, I'm just so happy that we got so many amazing artists working together on this. Jonathan, Gina, Brian. I wanted this to appeal to people in the fountain pen community, but might not necessarily be into like my cutesy stuff, but also appeal to people in my community who want that touch of cute emoji doodles. So I think this was like the perfect balance, just having a little stamp of the TheCoffeeMonsterzCO on the nib. Okay, so if you have never filled a fountain pen like this before, all you do is twist the end, and this reveals the cartridge converter. This also takes standard cartridges. So all you do is you twist the end and you can see the piston going down. Then with whatever ink bottle you have, you dip the pen inside and then you twist the end so the piston sucks the ink back up. And that is all you have to do to fill a fountain pen like this. And then you just twist it back. The next part of this collaboration is a fountain pen ink, and I called this Forgotten Iced Coffee. And I love this packaging so much. This will come with a string, so this will stay closed. And the idea is that we have this emoji. Honestly, when I drew this, I thought of a little robber. And then on the other side, we have this emoji with the key. The back has a quote-unquote nutrition label. After you unravel the string, you open this and it reveals a keyhole, which the emoji has a key to. This is a frosted bottle, and that's what it looks like. The final part of this collaboration is a set of blotter paper. This comes with 5 pieces. So the first 3 are the larger designs. This is like a tabletop. This one says keep creating. And then this is like a repeated pattern. So this would be good, especially in larger notebooks where you can just like stick one in here and close the book. I will do a demo of the blotter paper in a second. But you also get 2 of these pieces that are perforated, so it is the same 3 designs, but you can rip this apart. So then you are left with 6 smaller pieces, and this is of course handy for smaller planners or if you just don't need a huge sheet. So you get quite a lot, and with blotter paper, you can use it for a very long time before needing to change it. So yeah, this will last you a very long time. Okay, so I'm gonna get into doing some nib comparisons. First, between the 4 sizes that Esterbrook is gonna offer, and then I'm gonna do comparisons between Esterbrook and some other popular fountain pens, just in case you've never tried an Esterbrook before. And I'm gonna do it both in my Hobonichi Cousin that was requested, just so that you can see it relative to the grid size. And then I will also do a sample on the Rhodia paper, which I feel like performs differently. I actually already filmed this yesterday, but then I spilled water on it, which is so sad. Also, I put washi tape on the end so that I can easily distinguish the different sizes. For the fine nib, I'm going to use my other Esterbrook because I don't want to unnecessarily open a brand new pen just for this. It should be the same, but it just doesn't have that cute emoji engraving. I'll Also, I'm very cold at the moment, so my writing is a little bit shaky. This is medium, which is what I have been using in all of my promo videos because it was the first one that I received in the mail. I don't know why that first E is so dark. Okay. Last but not least, we have the journaler nib, which I think this is what is kind of not really confusing people, but it is the most mysterious one, I think. So I will explain a little bit more about this. So one type of nib is a stub nib, and you can see it's kind of squared off on the tip, and this is a 1.1 millimeter stub by TWSBI. So when you write, you get this kind of line variation, and it's very cool. But something like this, you might not be able to use it in a daily setting. I mean, some people do, and that's totally cool. But just like, you know, in my journals and stuff, I don't tend to reach for my stub. So this is basically ground from a medium nib, and it's hard to really convey. It visually looks very similar to the medium, but it is basically like a smooth italic, and it is a very subtle stub. But I think where this shines is that it feels and glides on the paper very differently from the medium, which, I don't know, it's just something that I can't really show on video. You can see just based on the nib, my handwriting kind of changed. The top is the journaler nib and the bottom is a medium nib. And personally, I find the journaler nib to be more usable. I don't know, maybe to some people, the visual difference is not going to be enough to go for the journaler nib, but for me, I love it so much more than the medium. And also, the writing experience is very different from the medium. So yeah, definitely don't expect anything like super crazy like the 1.1 stub, because otherwise you can just get the 1.1 stub. I would say this is a very forgiving specialty grind, and I'm really excited to play around with it as well. Okay, so that is basically the writing sample in the Hobonichi Cousin, and I will also do a few comparisons with other common pens. Okay, let's start with the TWSBI Eco Extra Fine. Do keep in mind I have different inks in the other pens, so that might affect the performance. I think the TWSBI Extra Fine is very similar to the Esterbrook, but it might be a tad finer. But again, it might also be the ink. This is the TWSBI Fine. I feel like the TWSBI Fine might be a little bit fatter than the Esterbrook Fine, but again, it might be the ink. Unfortunately, I don't have a TWSBI Medium, but I do have a TWSBI Broad, which I guess I can compare to the medium, and it is definitely much juicier. This is a Pilot E95S Fine, and this one definitely writes more like a extra fine. Japanese nibs in general tend to be a size smaller, so we have that. We have Pilot Custom 74, also in fine. This one is slightly fatter than the E95S. This is a Sailor Pro Gear medium, which I can compare to the Esterbrook medium. I would say the Sailor medium is actually pretty similar to the Esterbrook medium, maybe just a hair finer, but not too different. This is a ᴘʏᴅᴜᴜᴜ medium. I think the ᴘʏᴅᴜ medium is a little bit finer than the Esterbrook medium. Lamy 2000 fine. Whoops. Ugh. Okay, I don't know what that is. Lamy 2200. We have Aurora 88 fine. Pilot Vanishing Point, fine. Leonardo extra fine, which kind of exploded, but that's okay. Leonardo extra fine definitely does not write similar to the other extra fines. I would say this is more like a fine. I also have my Energel Clena 0.4. I don't know how helpful this is. Oh wait, Pelican. I will do a still photo for the website listing, but I don't have a particular size that I would recommend from the Esterbrook, as it really depends on your personal writing style. But yeah, this is a little guide. Okay, so yesterday I filmed the writing sample portion, and I don't know what happened, but I think I got distracted and I forgot to film the rest. So it is the next day. I think the only thing that I have left to cover is the blotter papers. So it's pretty intuitive, but I actually didn't get into using blotter papers until recently. So I thought I would do a little demo. The good thing about blotter papers is that you can use it even if you aren't into fountain pens, especially on Tomow River paper, where it takes a little bit of time for the ink to dry. Blotter paper really comes in handy so that you can close your book or flip to another page in your journal without having to wait for it to dry. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use black ink so it's very obvious what the blotter paper is doing. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a dot, and then if you close it, you can see it transfers. Now with the blotter paper, draw the same dot. Use this, press it down. You can see there is no transfer, and the ink was sucked up by the blotter paper. So again, this can be handy even if you use gel pens, markers, etc. So if my memory has not failed me, I think I covered everything I wanted to yesterday. So to end off this video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for your support. I've said this before, but I'm literally just a normal person, and somehow I got lucky with this opportunity, not just with this collaboration, but this entire community and basically my career. So I'm forever grateful for your support, and of course to Esterbrook and especially Brian for making this possible. This will be released on April 5th, and I don't want to bore you with all of the details, so I will link below any like FAQs and stuff like that. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.